Welcome to the deep dive. We sift through the latest research, data, all that noise, and pull out the key insights for you. Today, we're diving into a city that, well, never seems to stand still, Las Vegas. Glitz, gambling, entertainment, you know the place. Our mission, to really understand what's happening right now with tourism, the casinos, all the new building going on, and figure out what actually matters. So yeah, let's unpack this.
And what's fascinating here really is just the amount of fresh data we've been able to look at. We've got a whole collection of recent articles, some interesting research, specific data points. And putting it all together gives, I think, a really nuanced picture of Vegas today. We'll try to connect the dots so you understand not just what's happening, but why it's significant, and maybe what it suggests for the future, not just for Vegas, but maybe entertainment cities generally.
Okay, and right off the bat, we're seeing some pretty big shifts. Let's start with tourism. The numbers we reviewed, they show a definite dip in visitors. So, get this. June 2025 saw an 11.3% drop in visitors compared to June the year before. That's down to about 3.1 million people. That feels significant. An 11% drop. What are the sources saying is behind that kind of decline?
Well, it seems like a few things are hitting at once. International travel is a big piece of it. Canadian visitor numbers, for example, are down.
Yeah.
The reports cite things like unfavorable exchange rates, obviously, but also U.S. immigration policies. We're seeing reports where Canadians actually say they feel unwelcome.
Unwelcome. Wow.
Yeah. And it's not just perception. Industry people themselves, stakeholders, are pointing to political tensions, things around immigration, trade. Some sources even use the phrase Trump slump factor. Now, just to be clear, these are factors cited in the sources suggesting that this perceived climate is discouraging some international travel.
Right. So it's that bigger picture stuff, politics, economics having a real local impact.
Yep. Exactly. It shows how even Vegas isn't, immune. It's tied into these global perceptions and political moods. It really forces these destinations to think beyond just deals and discounts, doesn't it? They have to consider that wider political feeling.
Okay, so policy and economic headwinds are keeping some people away. But what about the folks who do go? The sources suggest it's getting pretty expensive once you're actually there.
Oh, definitely. That comes through loud and clear. The rising costs are a major theme. You see these examples like, what, $9 for coffee?
Yeah, $100 buffets, $18 for bottled water, and then those resort fees everywhere.
Right, those resort fees. It adds up.
Yeah.
And it seems to be making this city feel less appealing, particularly for maybe middle-class visitors. The sources talk about this low-value perception.
So this feeling of being nickel and dime.
Precisely. Parking fees, resort fees, service charges. It creates that feeling, and it has a real knock-on effect for the staff there. We saw reports of servers saying tips are down, sometimes by as much as 50%. 50%.
What?
Yeah, and one bartender even shared specific numbers. Said tips per drink fell from around 80 cents down to just 10 cents.
10 cents a drink, that's drastic.
It really is. And you think about it, that's someone's income taking a massive hit. It changes the dynamic for the staff, definitely. And eventually, you have to think that affects the guest experience, too. It's got wider implications for the whole hospitality scene there.
That's a really stark picture for the workers. It shows how visitor numbers and this low-value perception ripple outwards. So, okay, visitors are feeling the pinch, staff are feeling it. What about the casinos themselves? The gambling revenue, the heart of Vegas. Are costs showing up there too?
Well, the gambling picture is interesting. It's fluctuating. So Strip casinos, their gaming win was about $713.8 million in May 2025. That's actually down almost 3.9% from May 2024.
Okay, so dip there.
Yeah, and statewide, the total loss was about 2.2%, with downtown Vegas falling even more, around 11.4%. April showed a similar trend. Both slots and table games slipped slightly, about 0.5% each.
So a general softening then.
In those recent months, yes. But here's where the context is key. You have to contrast that with earlier in the year. If we connect this to the bigger picture, January 2025 was huge. Nevada's gross gaming revenue, the GGR, basically what casinos keep, hit $1.43 billion. That was up 12.5% year over year.
Wow, okay, so a big spike then a drop.
Exactly. And the Strip was the main driver in January, contributing $840 million, which was up a massive 22.4%. And a lot of that surge, according to the reports, came from Baccarat.
Ah, Baccarat. So, high-stakes players, often international.
That's the profile, generally. So that one game really boosted the numbers for that month. But then you also see another trend. Sports betting doing really well.
Right, you mentioned mobile sports bets were up significantly.
Over 20% across Nevada. So while traditional casino floor revenue might be dipping slightly in recent months, Sports betting, especially mobile, is showing strong growth.
So it's a mixed bag. A surge early in the year, then some softening in traditional games, but strength in sports betting. How are the casino operators reading this? You mentioned they're calling it cyclical.
That's the general line we're seeing in the sources, yes. They're saying, look, revenue's down from that January peak, sure, but it hasn't collapsed. Their argument is that it's more cyclical than catastrophic. They seem to be framing it within the usual ups and downs of the industry. Vegas has seen downturns before, they argue, and it always adapts.
Okay, but given the cost issues we talked about, and this feeling of maybe being nickel and dimed, and we haven't even gotten to demographics yet, is there a risk there may be underplaying a deeper shift beyond just a cycle?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Is this just a temporary blip, a standard market fluctuation, or are these factors, the costs, the changing visitor profile, pointing to something more fundamental? It's hard to say definitively from the data just yet, but it's definitely a point of tension.
Right. And that brings us neatly to those demographics, because another really big theme emerging from the sources is this generational shift. Specifically, younger Americans, let's say under 40s, are apparently tuning out from that classic Vegas experience. What are the reasons given for that? What's driving this divide?
Well, the sources point to a few key things. Younger generations generally seem to prefer online gambling. It's accessible, it's on their phones. They also lean more towards digital socialization, connecting online rather than necessarily needing a big physical gathering place. And another factor mentioned is that they tend to consume less alcohol compared to previous generations.
Okay, so online betting, digital hangouts, less drinking. That challenges the core Vegas model quite a bit, doesn't it?
It really does. It fundamentally questions the why. Why travel? Why pay the high prices? Why engage in these traditionally high-consumption Vegas activities if your preferred way to gamble or socialize is digital?
Right.
The insight here, I think, isn't just that tastes are changing. It's that the whole value proposition of a place like Vegas is being reevaluated. Younger people are often looking for, hyper-personalized, digital-first kinds of experiences. So Vegas isn't just competing with Atlantic City or Macau anymore.
It's competing with your phone.
Exactly. It's competing with the entire internet, in a way. And this is a huge challenge for any established industry, right? Are you just tweaking things, or are you truly rethinking your core appeal for a completely different audience? Analysts quoted in the sources are definitely sounding a warning bell, saying Vegas could lose relevance if it doesn't evolve significantly.
That's a really powerful point, competing with the digital world itself. But, despite all these headwinds, the costs, the changing demographics, the fluctuating revenues, Vegas isn't standing still. The sources also talk quite a bit about major investments, new developments. There's clearly a big push towards reinvention happening.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of construction, a lot of money being poured in. You've got the Rio, for instance, undergoing pretty extensive renovations right now. Part of that includes adding, I think, 400 new slot machines. So refreshing the existing offering.
Oh, updating the familiar. But what about brand new stuff?
Well, the big one is the Hard Rock Las Vegas. It's being built on the old Mirage site. The Mirage closed down July 2024. They're aiming to open late 2027, and it sounds massive.
Yeah, the guitar-shaped tower.
Right, that's the one. Huge guitar tower, a casino floor of around 174,000 square feet, nearly 3,700 rooms, plus all the expanded amenities you'd expect. The thinking there, as discussed in the sources, seems to be about creating a spectacular new anchor attraction. Modern, maybe a bit edgy, but still delivering that grand Vegas scale.
So a big bet on a new, maybe slightly different version of the classic Vegas appeal.
Kind of. It's navigating that tension we talked about, trying to be new and fresh, possibly attract a different crowd, but still rooted in that large-scale casino resort model. It's a massive investment, clearly betting that people will still want that kind of physical, immersive experience, even if it needs a modern update.
Right. And the Hard Rock isn't alone in terms of recent big openings, is it?
Not at all. We have to remember the other major additions recently. There's the Sphere, which opened in 2023. Totally different kind of entertainment focus there. Very tech-driven, immersive.
Yeah, definitely not just about gambling.
Right. Then the Fontainebleau also opened in 2023, adding another luxury resort option to the north end of the Strip. And late 2024 saw the VLVD Retail Center open up, adding more shopping and dining diversity. So you see this pattern, updating existing properties, building huge new casino resorts, and adding completely different kinds of attractions like the Sphere or more retail.
It sounds like a multi-pronged strategy then, trying different things to see what sticks, maybe.
Yeah.
Diversifying the appeal.
That's certainly how it looks. They're trying to broaden the reasons to come to Vegas, beyond just the casino floor. Maybe tap into those younger demographics looking for unique experiences, or cater to luxury travelers, or offer something totally new like the Sphere. It's a huge effort to reshape the city's draw for the future.
Yeah.
So, pulling this all together as we wrap up, Las Vegas is clearly in a moment of significant change. Maybe it always is, but it feels particularly intense right now. It's wrestling with economic pressures like those visitor costs and fluctuating gaming wins.
Yeah.
It's facing really profound shifts in who its visitors are and what they want, especially with younger generations. And at the same time, it's pouring billions into new developments, trying to reinvent itself yet again.
Yeah.
That core tension is really visible.
Yeah.
How do you maintain the traditional moneymakers, like the casinos, while innovating enough to stay relevant and attract new audiences? It's a really dynamic situation, a fascinating snapshot of a city trying to navigate some tricky crosscurrents.
It absolutely is. A real-time case study and adaptation, maybe, even for a place built on constant change. These feel like pretty fundamental challenges, so it leaves you wondering, doesn't it? As Las Vegas keeps morphing and evolving, what actually makes an entertainment destination compelling today? What are those core elements people are truly looking for? And maybe, what does this whole deep dive tell us about how any industry needs to adapt when the ground shifts beneath its feet? Something to think about.